Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Healthy AF. I'm really so very excited to be bringing you this episode because I have my friend Takilla Combs as a guest, and she is going to talk to us about organization. You know, all of August has been physical environment, and Takilla, as the owner and founder of Xtreme Audacity Organizing Solutions, has had a huge impact on my daily life and my physical environment and mental health with her organized. I'm going to say it's a talent, but also a real passion. So I'm just pleased to bring this little bit of knowledge to you. So welcome to Killa.
Thank you so much, Amy. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to have this conversation. We've had tons of time together with organization and conversation. So we're just extending it to everyone else.
I know, right? You know, it's funny. When I started doing August content on like, well, physical environment, how does that impact your health? And for a minute, it's like, well, who cares? But it makes a
Mm.
big difference.
It makes a huge difference. It affects when I was looking at, so you sent me the information and I was looking at the Wheel of Health.
Mhm.
And what's at the top?
Yeah, right up there at the
It's
top.
the physical environment. And one of the things that I've learned is that it affects almost every aspect of your life. So your physical environment is going to affect your, your sleep, your rest, your eating, your health. It affects everything. So it's very, very important. I do so many consultations with people. They don't always hire me for their services, but they need it, right? So, and what I learned over the years and in research is that 54% of America lives in clutter and chaos,
Hmm.
right? And that's relative.
I was going to say, how do they define that? Because I can tell you, my kitchen drawer right now is complete clutter and chaos.
Yes.
My garage is also, but I did work in there today, and it was actually amazing. Like I just went down there for probably 45 minutes, reboxed some stuff, threw out some stuff, put some stuff in donate boxes, and man, the feeling of accomplishment and peace
Mm-hmm.
and serenity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really did not take long. And if you looked at that garage and said, like, well, what does 100% done look like? And what does 0% done look like? I maybe did 5, 10%.
Mm-hmm.
Still felt so
Yeah.
good.
It does. It's very rewarding to accomplish even a small goal, right? It
Mm,
doesn't always have to be large. And even when I'm organizing with clients, we can't get it all done in one day. We have to start small. We start in the area that's going to have the greatest impact on their life.
mm.
So that could be the kitchen, it could be the bedroom, wherever area where they like, if I had this room done, it would feel so good. So
Yep.
that's where we start.
Okay, so I guess we should start with you mentioned clutter and chaos.
Hmm.
Tell me, when you say clutter and chaos, what do you mean clutter and chaos?
And like I said, that's relative to so many people. So I believe that it's way more than 54%.
I would say I
Um,
was shocked when you said 54% because I was like, not one person that I know, and that includes people who have like people who come and do their home,
yeah,
housekeepers and cleaner uppers and laundry people and all the people. Even those people have
yeah,
some clutter somewhere.
absolutely, absolutely. So when you look at um, one of my social media posts, I put up two homes, two pictures of a kitchen. Now, one could be cluttered and one could not be cluttered, but you couldn't tell the difference because the counters were clean. There was very little things on the counters. But if you open the cabinets, what are you going to see?
Hmm.
Right? That's going to determine whether you're organized or not. And when we look at, when I go into a client's home or when I'm having conversations, everybody thinks that think about hoarders when we talk about clutter.
Yep.
No, that's when you look at that show, you think about extreme hoarding.
Yep.
But I feel like there's a middle ground, and I feel like there's a lower level that can be considered hoarding. But you know, we all it's relative because it's a matter of perspective and what you think or what the person thinks or what they deem to be cluttered
Mhm.
or whatever. But I feel like if you can't find things, if you're having a hard time, that's probably the biggest thing. Like, can't find things, you're always disoriented trying to do things, or pack lunch, or get ready for work in the morning, get the kids ready for school, prepare for bed at night. You're probably living in clutter and chaos.
Okay. So I love that. That's a very real life. I call it like in the indicator lights. I heard Brene Brown one time talk about indicator lights. I'm like, that's an awesome term. So I have
Love
written
her.
down like in in one of my journals, how do I know I've been living too fast? Because when my house gets cluttered and chaotic, that is an indicator light to me
Yeah,
that I've been living too hard and too fast, and I have
yeah.
not taken time to put stuff away to deal with the influx of mail or laundry or chore,
Mhm,
whatever
mhm.
is going on.
Absolutely.
So I love it that we can look at another indicator light of the clutter and chaos. And you said not being able to find stuff,
Yeah,
it taking extra time for you to get ready to either your transitions, your
yeah,
nighttime transition, your daytime transition, your out the door transition, all those things.
yeah.
What are other sort of symptoms that if anyone listening right now is like, wow, I've got some, unopened mail, but I don't know if it's affecting me or not. What do you hear your people say? Like, this is the way that this has affected me.
So I'll tell you what I say.
Mm,
So, and I found this acronym years ago, and it's called systems. And being organized, it saves you space, time, energy, and money.
mm,
So if you are expending on any of those things, space, time, energy, or money, like buying things that you already have because you can't find them, spending time looking for things because you can't find them.
mm.
Um, and that's energy that you're burning,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So
Or
if
I'll
you're
give you the other energy. When your panties get up in a twit and you're irritable or pissed off, or you start yelling at your kids because you can't find your cell phone when it's time to
yes,
leave the house,
absolutely.
that is a big energy drain.
Yeah, and your kids
Okay.
can't find things, and they think that you're supposed to know where they left their book bag, right?
Mm,
Because they walk in the door and they don't have a system in place to where they just walk in, drop the book bag, take the shoes off, and then start playing or doing whatever it is that they do. But
right.
when you have a system in place, they'll know where their book bag is when it's time to do homework, right? So, but they'll come to you, right, and say, "Where's my book bag?
They do.
Where are my shoes? Where are my glasses?"
Mm,
Right? As if you had them. So I find that very funny too. But you know, I think clients, they're really, by the time they call me, they're disoriented. They're like over it,
mm.
right? They've hit the ceiling. They've tried. I mean, I want to say like 95% of my clients have already attempted to get organized.
Mm.
They're calling me because they're overwhelmed and they don't know what to do at this point. So
Okay,
you
so
can, mm-hmm,
I was going to say let's look at the impact since this is a health podcast. Let's look at the impact of that.
yep,
Like when you're living in overwhelm, we know that your cortisol is going to be shot up. We know that you're not going to be
absolutely,
sleeping well. We know that you're not going to be doing all the things that you do when you feel de-stressed. Like that means no proper digestion, no pooping, no meditation, maybe, or ability to like focus in and zone in, no sex, no deep conversations, no none of that stuff, no running around. I had a dance party this morning, no having the dance party, right? I was just saying to my VA today, I was a little late to our daily meeting, and I said, "I'm sorry I was late. I was having a dance party." He was like,
Mm.
"Was it just you?" And I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah.
Yes, it was
He
just
has dance parties.
yes. And I said to him, it's really hard for me to go from living too fast and being in stress to doing something that is really nourishing for me, like dance party. There's
Mm-hmm.
this in between of like, I need to slow down. I need to get, back in like a normal stress state so that I can go into a happy stress state.
Yeah.
So when people come to you, I'm hearing that they're in this stress state.
Yeah.
There's no dance parties happening. There's
Uh-uh.
no like thriving. I'm relaxed. I'm open for conversation and other intimacy. It's just like the lockdown.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So that has some impact.
very much. They're
Yeah.
embarrassed. They're overwhelmed. They don't even a lot of times don't have family and friends over because
Mm,
of the clutter. So they can't even be as social as they would want to be. Like I'm working with a client right now. She's like, my mother and father are coming in town, and so I got to get the place fixed up,
yeah.
right? And so it's just it really does something to your spirit and your soul when you can't, just function or get up in that peaceful place.
Yep.
I don't sell organization. I sell peace and productivity.
Mm.
And when I assist clients in getting organized, it brings a level of peace. It brings a level of productivity that they hadn't had in a long time or ever.
Mm. I'm just going to let that sit for just a minute uh, because I think that that's really important. You're selling peace and productivity.
Yeah,
And some of us have never had it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something.
Hit it.
When we work together, did you feel peace and productive in the process or after the fact?
I'm going to give you another one. Okay.
Okay.
I felt partnered.
Mm,
I felt partnered.
yeah.
And yes, um, peaceful. Yeah. And clearly more productive. So do you care if I tell the story of when we met?
Oh no,
Okay.
absolutely not.
So when we met, I owned CrossFit Hickory, was 50% owner with
Yeah.
a friend of mine, and we both had then husbands at the time and kids. And now we owned a business, and we had been stay-at-home moms, and there was just no way to do all of it. And we actually called out for somebody who could help us be clones of us, right? Because that's
Hmm.
what we needed.
Yeah.
We needed somebody who could follow instructions, but also be intuitive
Yeah. Absolutely.
and flow and do all the things that we were responsible for. And sometimes that looked like go get the groceries, and sometimes that looked like do the laundry, and sometimes it looked like clean up, and sometimes that looked like I'd come home and my pantry was organized or my
Yeah.
closet was organized. And
Yeah.
that's where I will say that's where the peace and serenity came. Like
Uh
when
huh.
I'd come home and all of a sudden everything looked less visually stimulating. It was
Mm,
less visually stimulating. It was neat and I could find stuff.
yeah.
I'm a very visual person. Like I love bins, but I'll do a clear bin all day long because if I put it
Yeah.
in a colored bin, I don't care what kind of label I put on it, I will forget what is in there. And so
Absolutely.
having that visual and being
Yeah.
able to see all that, yeah.
Yeah.
And there were times, just in case no one knows, and I'm sure that people who know me know, you started working with me, and like 2 years later, my marriage ended abruptly. That was crazy town. We moved out of the house that I raised the children in. That was 15 years of crazy town.
Yeah.
Moved into a smaller home. My kids were going to boarding school and it was moving back and forth. I was head over heels in love in a brand new relationship. Like the whole world changed while you and I were working together.
Yeah.
And throughout that time, I would say, you were my partner in my
Mm-hmm.
peace and my productivity.
Oh. Oh, Amy.
And you brought me flowers.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that when I was doing my hair, getting all ready. I thought about those flowers. And it wasn't just the flowers. It when I saw them, because I think I went to the grocery store for you.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. That's probably how
Probably.
I ended up at the store. I don't remember. But I saw the flowers and I thought about you. And so I just bought them. And they were the most beautiful flowers ever. They were just a ray of sunshine, as you are. It was
No.
pink, green, yellow, purple. They were all the colors. And I just remember knowing where you were emotionally and just wanting to brighten up your day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it did. It did. And I'll never forget that. And by the way, I believe that you also bought me the orchid that we put in the guest bathroom in the new house.
Yeah.
That sucker popped up 5 blooms this year.
Oh, wow. I
5.
did buy you an orchid. I forgot about that.
Yeah, girl. It's still
It's
blossoming
been
here.
so long ago. It feels like yesterday,
It
but that's
it feels like yesterday and forever.
and forever. Yeah.
And I guess
Yeah.
the reason I bring that up, the time span that we worked in and sort of what was going on in my life.
Yeah.
You worked in different capacities, but you want to talk about a lot of embarrassment
Mm-hmm.
and
Ooh.
shame
Yep.
and grief and change. You were instrumental not just with the house and with me, but also with the children.
Yes.
Max said to tell you, hey, by the way. And I was like,
Oh,
well, do you want to say hey to her? Okay. He's like, no, mom, you're trying to get me out of the house so you can have your peaceful moment before you podcast. And I'm like, you're right. Get out.
right. Oh my gosh. It was good times. I had great times with the kids.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
great times. It was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the thing I wanted to pull out of that is I know you deal with and create space for people working through their shame and their grief about the way they think their house should look and maybe how it
Absolutely.
did look before that kid came or that job got moved or whatever, and how it does look now and what they're actually dealing with now.
Yeah.
And so I want to hear a little bit about that because I know what you do. I want to share with other people who might feel poopy stink about the state of their current affairs and their physical environment.
So much to say about that. But the first thing I want to say is that even during my consultations, it's always my goal, and this is going to sound very contradictory, is to make people feel comfortable in their mess. No judgment here. Like I got started organizing my own space. Right? I had to get my life together first. Right? And so I live and thrive in service, helping other people. So it's not, I don't want people to feel condemned. I don't want them to feel like they're being judged or any of that. I want you to feel comfortable enough to allow me in the unseen spaces of your home, in the unseen spaces of your mess that other people don't get the privilege to see.
And that is that word right there, privilege. I feel the same way. You come to me and talk about that 25 pounds you want to lose or that tummy you hate, the first thing we need to do is start loving that tummy.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to let you know that I love that tummy and I believe in you.
Right.
And then we can move on successfully.
Exactly. Because they have to trust me.
And it's a
Right?
privilege.
Trust me first. and know that I'm not going to come in and just try to throw all their things away, try to make them get rid of everything. It's a journey. We're going on a journey together.
Mm.
Okay. And so in almost every home, we're going to deal with some form of grief. It could have been a teddy bear from a lost child, some dishes from a mother or a grandmother, um, anything. So it could be so many, a plethora of things. But it's always my goal to make people feel safe in that,
Mm.
right? So you know, if you decide to get rid of this, you're still going to have the memories. If not, let's put it in a safe space. It shouldn't just be on the floor. It shouldn't just be sitting on your desk. It shouldn't just be thrown on the counter with all this other stuff. If this is important to you, if it's special, let's create a keepsake. And you'll be surprised how many keepsake boxes I've created,
Mm.
because there's special things, there's special memories, there's special moments. And sometimes people can get rid of things and let go of things, and other times they can't. They're not ready.
No, I
And
find
that's
that that is
okay.
so, yeah, that is, time takes time, and you're ready when you're ready. And if you
Yes.
go doing stuff before you're ready, typically it feels bad.
Mm-hmm.
It feels bad.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to have that Oreo cookie after dinner every night and we start pulling that sucker off and you're not ready, it does not feel good.
Yeah.
And I don't mean the way that uncomfortable doesn't feel comfortable, but you're committed to it and you know that you're heading in the right direction. I don't
Right.
mean that. I mean it feels I don't want to say trauma, but it's a little triggering maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be. Listen, I get tears. I give hugs, right? It's so many emotions that come up. I had one, and you would know this person, I'm not going to say their name. It's from the
Yeah.
organization we were in together. Hired me to find a box of pictures, and we went in that attic, and within 1 hour we found the box of pictures. But we found so many other things because she had a 4 hour session. So there were so many emotions that came out,
Mm.
tears, and just happy to just see this particular item that they haven't seen in so long. So it can be very emotional. Even just grieving the loss of the size we were,
Yes.
the size we used to be, the
Mhm.
size we want to be, that we don't feel like we're going to be able to accomplish that goal. So we want to hold on to those clothes.
Okay. I still have the when I went through maternity, nothing was stylish. I'm gonna say that right up front. Like there were no like you had to go to the maternity store in the mall to get maternity clothes. And thank God my sister-in-law went before me, right? So she had her kids
Mm.
5 and 3 years before I started. So I got all her clothes, and I think that she had gotten all her sister's clothes. So we had some serious hand-me-downs, right?
Right.
And needless to say, I did not keep those clothes. Okay. I was very happy to see most of those just like out the door. But there are
Mm-hmm.
three things that I kept. And
Mm.
two of them were some nightgowns that had the boob holes for nursing, the
Yes.
nursing nightgowns
Yes.
in. I kept those because I mean, I spent years of my life in those
Yes.
nursing nightgowns and I just couldn't let them go. And the other was a shirt that was one of my faves when I was big as a house
Mm-hmm.
pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, my boy, Max, was born literally on top of that shirt. And I
No.
washed it. You know what happened too? It wasn't purposeful. It got sent to the laundry in the sheets. And when it came back, the midwife
Oh.
called me from the birth center. And the midwife called me and said, "We have your shirt." And I thought, well, since it's been through a sanitized wash, just going to take that right back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't have
Yeah.
a stain or anything on it. And it's in his baby box. Now, one day,
Oh.
because it's
Yeah.
pretty ridiculous for me to have that.
Uh-huh.
One day I may let it go,
Right.
but it's stored away, and I'm not ready. And when I'm ready, I'll be ready.
And when you're ready, you'll be ready. And
Yeah.
it's not like you have 30 of those.
Mm-mm. Thankfully, I can only imagine having
Right?
30 babies on 30 shirts. Holy mackerel. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have the client I'm working with right now, and one of them, her husband is recently deceased.
Mm.
So they basically had three homes: their main house, and then you know about this because we had to
Yes.
pack up your one of your houses,
We had to pack up the lake house. We had to
the
pack
lake.
up the main house. We had,
That's
yes,
right. That's right.
lots of
Um,
downsizing.
yes. So she had three Keurigs, two coffee make no, three coffee makers,
Mm.
like the regular kind,
Regular old.
right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Like three or four crock pots.
Yeah.
So, and she just moved in this house. She was not ready to get rid of that stuff before she moved into this house.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
what my process is to lay it all out, look at all of it. When you can see all of it, when you have a coffee pot over here, a coffee pot over there, a
Mhm.
Keurig over here, a Keurig over there, it's like, yeah, I have them, but I don't really see them. But when you put them all together and you're like, she was like, yeah, I probably don't need all of those.
Yeah. Yeah. I did that with my t-shirts one year. And I'm because I do love my t-shirts, especially my concert t-shirts and my CrossFit
Yes.
between my CrossFit t-shirts and my concert t-shirts, like really those are the only t-shirts I have anymore.
Right. Yeah.
And I laid them out and girl, I had like 30 flipping t-shirts.
Hmm.
And I'm like, Amy, you could
And
wear a t-shirt every day of the month and
but
never wash.
that's after you've given some away already.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yes.
Because you have more.
Oh, I had a ton. And still I've collected some more. Okay. I'm still
And they're gonna keep coming in.
And they are. I'm not gonna the
Yeah.
other day I bought one at a Bombargo concert. He was so good. He toured with Michael Fronte. And it's black and on the front it says good times guaranteed. And I'm like, oh yeah,
Mm.
I'm keeping, I'm getting this one. And
Yeah.
I got it home and I was like, oh,
Dang it.
I know which one's gotta go. And I'm looking through and I'm like, well, I can't. That's my favorite restaurant in Asheville. Can't get rid of
That's
that.
right. That's right. That's
That was
right.
my first ever concert t-shirt from the Ava Brothers. That sure as hell ain't going nowhere, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
that's so funny. One thing that I challenge people with is the one in, one out.
mhm.
And which is very much a challenge. Um, and I think the best time to start is with our children. And so, one of the things I did with my boys around the holidays, when Christmas was coming, well, let's see what you haven't been playing with that another child may want to enjoy. Because we're not bringing more toys in your space to keep the place cluttered. So, let's see what we can get rid of. And, when I had that conversation about blessing other children that are less fortunate, it was so much easier for them to get rid of things, right? My
Did they
kids,
actually do that, Takilla?
absolutely.
See,
And
mine were like, no, I'm not giving up my stuff. They could not fathom not having that, one stuffy that they
yeah,
I literally had not seen in 2 years. And I'm like,
yeah, but that's different, Amy. The one stuffy. But when we get into like when your kids are 5, 6, 7, they have way. First of all, they usually have toys from when they were 3, 4, 2, 1,
that's
right?
true.
Because we haven't given them away. So if you create that, if you teach them about that law of reciprocity, it's
Mm,
easier for them to give things away. Like I just come home and there's bags by the door of clothes that they don't want anymore, things that they don't want anymore. So my kids they get rid of things easily now because
yeah.
I taught them. So when it's time for school to start, we know we're going to do back to school shopping and all these things. So what clothes can't you fit anymore? that you don't like anymore, yeah, not your style or anything like that, let's bless somebody else with it.
Mm-hmm.
So we can bring more stuff into the house. So my kids, my oldest son, Max, he's almost a minimalist.
Yeah, Maggie is too. She's really good at that. She's really good at that.
Yeah,
She
he's
don't keep
like,
nothing. Like half of the
yeah,
clothes in my closet are clothes that she's like, I don't like that anymore. I'm like, oh, that's a good brand.
right.
Bring that to mama.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I have sweatshirts like from their high school
Mhm.
that they had that I bought for them. That's a memory for me. It is not for them,
Yes.
but they had it in the bag, and I'm like, no, I want that hoodie, and I'm never gonna wear it, but I
Yeah.
have it.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. It's not, you don't have to get rid of everything. If it holds memories, like I have their middle school basketball hoodie, right?
Mm.
So they wore it to every game, right? It's just a thing. So um it's just, if you keep in some of the things, one or two, you're not gonna live in clutter and chaos. It's the when you have a hard time getting rid of anything, and a lot of times when you have children that can't get rid of anything, it's because their parents have a hard time too. It's
Yeah.
usually, it's passed down, not intentionally. It's just the way that it is.
You know what I see when it comes up for me and when it comes up for clients that I, work with, I hear like they've lived in scarcity mindset.
Absolutely, absolutely,
For me, it is 100% scarcity mindset. We didn't have much
absolutely.
growing up. And then also with my income change with the end of my marriage, there
Mm-hmm.
were some things that I enjoyed and acquired while I was married that I would
Right.
never be choosing again to put my cash on, you know? So those things are like,
Absolutely.
oh, I hope that doesn't break because we're not getting another one,
That's
right?
right.
So that's where scarcity shows up for me. And then I also hear, and this doesn't come up for me as much, but I hear this sometimes with other clients, that whole mindset of like, I deserve this. I worked
Mm,
hard. And, this is like, it's almost like a prize that it is signaled or somehow hooked to accomplishment or worth.
yes.
And I don't want to say entitled. We use entitlement like it's a bad word.
Yeah.
Like it's a snooty throwing shade word. I don't mean it like that, but a sense of entitled, like I did this, so I have this.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That is so big when it comes to the decluttering process. A lot of people feel entitled to hold on to things because they earned it
Yeah.
or because they paid so much money for it.
Mm.
Oh, that was expensive. I can't just give that away. I'm going to sell it,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, I say that.
You're
I'm
not
gonna
going to
sell
sell it.
this. I'm
Yes.
not. I'm not. You know what happens? And you know me too. You know me too well. You know what happens? Finally, I get tired of walking past it. I get tired of walking past it, and I'm like, that sucker is going. It is going today somewhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's not worth the $10 that I would get for that favorite fireplace screen of mine that was just perfect for the house that I used to live in that doesn't fit in this one.
The amount of time, energy, and money that you spend on trying to sell that toaster for $10 is ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous. When you think about how much time it takes to post it on social media, watch the
Mm.
social media, respond to the social media, meet the person where you're gonna meet them to get it.
Yeah.
You're just wasting time. And at the same time, people feel a sense of gratification if
Yeah.
they do get it sold, right? Oh, I made $10 off of it. But
Okay,
it's,
so what do you think about this? What
yeah,
do you think about if you're really tied to selling stuff? You're really tied to, whatever. Then you just give yourself that timeline. Like,
that
okay,
box. The buy win.
Yeah, the buy win. Oh, girl, that's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, the buy win. I talk about that too. So the client that I was talking about had all these toasters. What, she had 3 air fryers,
Oh, girl, I could use an
and
air fryer.
they weren't cheap ones.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So she doesn't want to just give that to the Goodwill, right?
Mhm.
Which is understandable. But
Yeah.
I'm like, are you actually going to put the work in that it takes to sell it? Right. So we created a whole pile of stuff that she's going to sell. And I asked her, why, I encouraged her, if you don't sell it by, you get to create the date.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
It's
not
not a
me
date.
saying it.
It's not a date for me to create.
Mm.
If you don't sell it by a specific date, it could be a month, it could be 30, 90, 60, 90 days, whatever you choose. Then you just make a choice that if I don't sell it by this date, I'll do this with it. Even if it's give it to a friend, even if
Yeah.
it's take it to the church, whatever it is, but you got to release yourself from it.
Mhm. I say
Because
it's always good. You make your decision. You take the data you have and you make the best decision you have for the data that you have in your hand. Like you got that
mm,
toaster and it's a $250 toaster, and dadgum, you know that somebody's going to buy it for $200. Okay, great. You make that decision. Well, you set your date to just reevaluate that decision.
mm,
You
a
might
lot of
still like, oh, I need to drop it to 150. Oh, actually, this isn't worth it to me. Oh, actually, I knocked it off the cabinet. Now it doesn't work. Actually, like it's okay to make a decision and put that time buffer on it to come back to that decision and reevaluate.
but and that's so good. However, a lot of times the value that we hold to things is not the actual value that it holds to other people
It's
that
so true.
so we think we paid $1,000 for it. It's not going to sell for that. It may sell for 200,
Yes.
right? So, and
I
that's
mean,
another.
yard sales slash, used stuff is 25 to 50%. Girl, do you remember when we did that estate sale?
Yeah,
And I mean, just
yeah,
mountains of
yeah.
stuff from
That
my
was really
house.
good. That state sale was really good.
It was a good estate sale, and it just got it out of my hands. I didn't have to deal with the emotion of,
Mm-hmm.
selling the bed
Making,
that
yeah,
my water broke on with Molly. I didn't have to
yeah,
deal with those things. I could just
yeah,
put myself at a safe buffer
yeah,
and let somebody else deal with that.
yeah.
And the amount of money that we made was, I mean, it was a successful sale, and still maybe 15 cents on the dollar.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's with a professional handling it.
Yeah, because you had good stuff in your home.
I had good stuff in my home.
You
Yeah.
did.
I had a lot of good
Yeah,
stuff
you
in my home.
did.
I also had those, I was telling somebody about this the other day because he's moving too. And I said, at some point, my oldest child comes into the attic with me, and there are like 6 different boxes of children's artwork that I have saved for the last like 15 years. And she looks at me and she squints and she sees what's in those boxes. She put her arm around me and she's like, "Oh, mama." And that's when I knew that I just had a problem. I was saving all of that for me. I wasn't saving none of that for them.
No, because they don't want it.
No, they don't want it. And so I went through and I picked my favorite pieces, and then I let the rest go. And then full circle, when daddy died, when he moved out of
Yeah.
his house and died, like he died in 19, it's 2024. I still have a box of his
Mm,
Boy Scout, Eagle Scout mementos. I don't know quite what to do with them. I don't want to throw them out. I'd like for them to be given somewhere where they can do the same thing that all the other little Eagle Scouts who come in my house. Oh, he was Order of the Arrow. I didn't even know what Order of the Arrow meant,
right, right.
but I knew it was something daddy had accomplished. And he had like, uh, he has his mother's and his grandmother's school diplomas. which were pretty rare back in the day. Right. And
Mm.
that was a source of pride for him, is that
Yeah.
education coming through the generations. And so I've gotten it both ways. I've got daddy's stuff to deal with, and I don't know what to do with it. And I don't want to toss it out. And at the same time, like, I can't have an entire cedar chest of pictures. And I've got my own stuff, and I don't want to leave my kids, you know, 15 years worth of craft projects.
So you just touched on a huge subject.
Mm.
When we get into keeping our parents' things and our children's things. And a lot of times, what I hear is, oh, I'm going to give this to my kids.
Mm.
They don't want it. They don't want it. These new kids, they are, they are not like us. They do not want this stuff. If
Mm-mm.
it's not digital, if it's not stylish, if it's not, what am I gonna do with it, Mom? What am I
Mm.
gonna do with Grandma's antique
Yes.
china, her antique china cabinet? Right,
Mhm.
it's not gonna look good in my house,
Well, and
right?
I will say this. I have three three pieces from my grandma's house. But if my mama had saved them for me and given them to me, they wouldn't have been the one I'd picked. They were the
Mm,
ones specifically I picked, right? I've
wow.
got the small green bookcase that was in my Uncle Mike's bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got the round table with the drawer that was beside her rocking chair that she had all her needles, her stitching needles.
Yeah.
But those pieces would not have been what my mama would have saved for me. And the things that I'm going to say hoarded, the things that I hoarded for my children wouldn't be the things that they would pick for themselves. So I
Right.
do think it's important to note that
That's
while we're
good.
saving all these things for other people, maybe they should be the ones to pick out what they want to save. Because my grandmother, I just broke it the other day. I was really irritated. She had
Oh.
this little egg in her bathroom, just the size of an egg, and it had like Holly Hobby on it. And it
Mm-hmm.
said, love is the greatest gift of all. And when
Mm-hmm.
I was tiny little girl, of course, that's the one I looked at all the time, took it down, played
Mm-hmm.
with it, held it in my hand,
Mm-hmm.
looked at
Mm-hmm.
it, and that was
Mm-hmm.
that was probably more important than any of that furniture I've got.
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
think there are things like that that other people would choose that we can't choose for them.
Yeah. And so what happens is when you start accumulating things from your parents and grandparents, like when we die, who has to deal with that? Our children,
I know, the ones who were left. Yeah.
right? And then they're going to have the guilt of, I can't get rid of this. This was mom's.
Mhm.
And I think there your I don't know what your scale is at the moment, right? Of things that you've held on to. But
Mhm.
some people have a large scale that they're going to leave their children and their family in some huge turmoil of
Yeah.
having to deal with those items because they didn't have the courage to deal with it, or they didn't have the wherewithal to deal with it, the emotional stamina to deal with it, right? So they're going to leave that, and then their children are going to have to deal with it.
Yeah. Why, when they're dead? And I don't
Yes,
mean dead
because
like
that's
they're dead, but like in the midst of grief.
absolutely,
That
it
was
makes it
one
hard.
thing that my daddy did. My daddy did me right on that. I mean, he had his funeral plans out. He had what solo he wanted to be sung at his funeral by who. And if it wasn't going to be
Mm,
her, he didn't want it sung. He had
mm,
everything laid out for me. So aside from like the fact that we had to clean out his house because, when dementia strikes, you don't really know it's coming. You can't prepare for that.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
probably
yeah.
could, but at any rate, he taught me the gift that it is when people prepare their stuff in advance so that when you
Mm,
lose them and all you can think of is, oh my God, my daddy is dead.
Yeah.
You don't also have to make decisions around what am I going to do with his body? What am I going to do with his Boy Scout stuff? Who do I want to have speaking at what kind of music do I want to have?
Yeah.
You don't have to think about all that. All you
Nope.
have to
Nope.
do is grieve.
Yeah. Because in many cases, you can cause a civil rivalry.
Mhm.
Like they're fighting over things, or one child wants to get rid of things and the other child wants to hold on to the things, and
Yes.
it just caused confusion and chaos in the family dynamic. So it's it's
Deal with
clutter.
your stuff, people.
Thank you, that's right. Deal
Yeah.
with your stuff,
Deal with your stuff.
because it just benefits everybody when
Mm.
you take ownership of your stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Well, we could talk about this. I have a feeling forever. And I think
Absolutely.
we could talk forever, the two of us. But okay, so I wanted to, before we wrap, like if you were pressed down, I know there are thousands of things, including mindset and shame and grief and all the stuff. If you were to give people top three on dealing with the clutter and the chaos that they have in their life, if they're listening to this and they're like, holy crap, that lady is looking in my windows. Top three, what would you give them?
Top three what?
Tips, techniques,
Okay.
shifts, anything that they can do to help their physical environment get healthier.
Okay. Start small.
Mm,
Start small. Don't overwhelm yourself with trying to do it all. I've seen so many memes where they just pull out everything out of the closet and then now they're laying on the stuff because it's on their bed. Right?
yes.
Start small. My second tip would be to create a plan.
Mm,
Create a plan, because you know, making a plan of action when you're deciding to do anything is beneficial. So if you have a plan, you can always revise it if you don't, because you don't really know. If you've never decluttered before, you really don't know what you're getting yourself into. But at
you
least
really don't.
right, you start off by making a plan. And my
What
third
would that
tip.
what would that plan sound like? Would it be like first I'm gonna do the bathroom, then I'm gonna do the closet, or first I'm gonna do under the sink, then I'm gonna do the lint? What would it or I'm gonna do this until I want to choke somebody and then I mean, what does a plan look like?
Okay, so I want to say on my website, you can go in extremeaudacity.com and we'll give you all the links or whatever.
Yep.
I have a summer organizing checklist. Now, the summer is almost over. I'm revising it for the fall. The summer organizing checklist helps you to break it down room by room.
Mm,
Like, and it starts in the kitchen, but if that's not where you want to start on the whatever area or room that works best for you. But it breaks it down. So, a unknown tip that people probably wouldn't think of is use extra surfaces, tables. Okay, that'll be my third tip.
okay, all right.
So when I'm organizing a client, I pull out tables and
Like
that
folding tables?
folding tables.
Huh.
Yeah, they stay in my trunk. And when you're pulling things out to declutter, you're able to see the things better because you can sit the toothpaste right here. And a lot of times you have them more than one spot. And, so put all the toothpaste right here, all the body wash right here, all the lotions right here, right? So you can see it all. And then you can decide whether, oh, I don't even like that anymore,
Mhm.
right? But it also has five of my five top tips on there too. So
Okay, cool.
there's more, but I'm also creating the ultimate organizing checklist. It's going to have 10 tips on there and some other great things that'll be coming out soon. But um, starting small,
Start small. Have a
mhm,
plan.
have a plan, and then use
Use
tables or
tables.
extra surfaces when you're decluttering and things like that.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
looking. You know what? When I really get to clean in my room, I will say the very first thing I do is make my bed so that I can use it as I've done that for years.
And that's not always possible when I'm working with a client. It's not always possible. So just if you have the extra surfaces,
Yeah.
but if you could pull out a table or anything, okay. And then I have one more tip.
Okay, great. Bonus tip.
If you're going to, so your kitchen and pantry are connected. You can't organize one without the other.
Okay.
So your closet and your bedroom are connected. You can't organize one without the other, because in most cases you have clothes in your bedroom and clothes in your closet. So the tip is, wherever the item is going, the majority of the items, organize that first.
Okay.
So if you have clothes on your bed, on the armoire, on the dresser, on the floor, do the closet first, because you set a foundation. You set the foundation in the closet, you get the closet all organized, you get the drawers organized, then you can deal with the clothes that are laying around the house.
Okay, great. So I'm going to give that back to you. Look around your space that you're working in and identify the majority of the stuff that you need to deal with, and go to where that thing is going and organize that first, so you have somewhere to put that stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So if it's a kitchen and a pantry, you do the pantry first. If you're working in a bedroom and you have a lot of stuff on the surfaces, on the dresser and the nightstands, you need to do the drawers first, because that stuff that's on the dresser is probably has a
Out of the
home
drawers,
in the
right?
drawer.
It needs to go into the drawers. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. All right, bonus tip. All right. Well, we're going to put how to get in touch with you in the show notes. Your website, though, is xtremeaudacity.com.
Yes, but without
And
the
there's
E.
no E on extreme.
That's
It's
right.
just X.
Yes.
Extreme.
That's
Audacity.com.
That's right.
Okay. Good. And I just want to thank you for, I was going to say, impacting my life. I do want to thank you for impacting my life.
Well, you had such a great impact on my life too. Like, don't get it twisted. It was not a one-way relationship. You blessed me so much. Your spirit, your kindness, your love, your support. We could go on and on, because I wasn't all together when I came to you either. Right. Right. I had my own set of mess. I was going through my own stuff, but we supported each other and we partnered together and we made it through to the other side.
We so did. And there's still another side to be had.
Another side.
And we're still right here together.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. Fabulous things happen when we live in empowerment and empower each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you would like to be empowered, you can look up Xtreme Audacity. You can find Takilla there. We're going to put all her links to all her stuff so that you can find out more about her. And from the heart of my bottom, thank you so much for being here. If you guys liked this episode, please like it, subscribe it, share it, tag a friend, tag a family member. You can do your whole family, and give yourself some grace in big boatloads when you can't even find a surface to write a check on.
No, just create one.
Yeah, it's going to be okay. All right. I'll see y'all later.